How's it going, folks, and welcome back. It's episode number 42 of Park to Primera. Today, we start the planning stages of season number 6. It's a transfer special. Of course, last episode, we wrapped up season number 5. We ended up finishing second. A good little result to end things, as well as we beat Real Madrid in their only defeat of the season. And well, now the work begins, doesn't it? Because we want to try and better what we achieved this year just gone. And, well, truth be told, it's going to be difficult. I don't think we're within a season of challenging Real Madrid. I don't think we're within a season of really challenging for a title, truth be told. Of course, financially, we can't compete. Let's just be completely transparent for a second. Financially, we just can't compete. 15th in the kind of total salary table you can see here. But even the likes of, say, Sevilla, Villarreal, kind of teams in 4th and 5th, their kind of wages per year are more than double ours. It's a challenge, and it's going to be a challenge this coming year. Now, you may have caught it in the top right. It's the 1st of July, so the transfer window has just opened, and we've got some early business done. Today, we're just doing the one transfer special for the pre-season, so it's going to be a little bit more compact, but we should talk about the players that we've signed. A few of these we already knew were going to be joining. Players like Gabriel Vega, who I feel like is criminally underrated as a 2-star current ability player. I think for a Spanish centre-mid who joined us as a freebie, he's a really good player, really, really good box-to-box midfielder with a bit of attacking intent. Yeah, don't agree with the star rating of him. Of course, we've also got Owusu joining us, who has also joined on a free. 27 years old, a good centre-mid again. Little bit of a similar mould, I suppose, to Blanco. Of course, Blanco plays as a box-to-box midfielder. He has a little more going forward than Owusu, but I think Owusu can be a really, really important part of our team, some experience in our ranks. One area where we didn't quite have enough depth, I felt like this year, was the centre-mid position. Hence the fact we've brought in the 2 players you've seen so far. But of course, they are not the only ones. Al Asmar has signed for us from Syria. He is kind of a punt for the future as much as anything else. You can see here he's actually fractured his lower leg prior to joining us. Not ideal, but he is a really, really good advanced playmaker. As you can see here, a real specialist to this role. Of course, we talked about tactical tweaks last episode. As a result of those, there probably isn't quite as obvious, I suppose, path into the first team for him. But he's here. He's got a broken leg, though, so it's all just a bit of a shame, really. There are, of course, a couple of youngsters who have joined us, players like Moreno, who we talked about last time, Ramon Guillen, as well as Arrieta. And, of course, last episode, we also talked about Galareta, which I believe is the Polish word for jelly. That's what I've been informed by the YouTube comment section. If that's not true, I apologise, and I've just believed what I've read on the internet. If it is true, I mean, I kind of want to just nickname him Jelly. It's just a cool nickname, isn't it? Either way, he's 19 years old, a top quality centre-back. And while there is one other player we've signed that we didn't talk about last time, and that is LaRue here. No, not the singer, although there is a weird singer theme, isn't there, to the team emerging with players like Angulera in the youth team and also Onana. But LaRue here we've picked up on a freebie from Bruges. He's 20 years old, left-back who can also play centre-back. He's not a crazy player by any means, but a 20-year-old with some potential, I think as a free transfer, it's kind of just always worth a punt on these kind of guys. So today is the day where all these players have arrived, and I've kind of got to make sense of the team. We've got to make some tough decisions, move some players on. The squad is not the smallest by any means, but that's kind of, I want to say, by design. If we just look at the team, you can see here there is so much potential in our ranks, so many younger players as well, that I don't really mind having a larger squad. A few of these players we're going to be making available for the under-19s anyway. I mentioned Aguilera already. We should mention him again because he is now playing for the Spanish under-21 setup, and off the back of that, and kind of re-evaluating him, I've decided he's ready for the first team. He's ready to come and train with the big boys. Of course, he came through a youth intake a few years ago. You can see in this season just gone for Racing B. 9 goals in 13 appearances. A really impressive return, really. Making it big on the international stage. Someone who I want to give game time to this coming year. I think he could be a good little understudy of sorts to Jonathan Martinez. A player who I suppose is similar in the sense they're both very, very quick. Similar in the sense that they can both play out on the right and as a striker. And similar in the sense of, they've both come through our academy. They both look really, really good. But as I already mentioned, this squad is bloated. It's a little larger than it needs to be. I'm looking at players like Rojas thinking, down to the B team you go. It feels harsh to do, but I think there's going to be a few tough decisions to be made. Of course, with the system change, we've kind of talked about the plan for next year and what we might do. Worth noting, Mark has renewed his loan for a year, so that's some big transfer news nice and early on for us. He's now here to the end of next season. Elsewhere in the team, I mean, you can see it here. This is kind of the squad that I've approximately selected. I've not sent Pablo home from his loan yet. A few of you guys convinced me after I rinsed him in yesterday's intro that actually, and it's a really important factor, I should consider the fact he is homegrown at club. That's quite important, really, when it comes to European competition, even if I don't intend on starting him quite as much. But yeah, the squad's a little bigger than it needs to be. Players like Rodrigo Fernandez, I'm probably going to end up offering out. Just players who they've not really grown with the team, as I hope they might. Al Asmar as well, of course, he's just got injured, so we'll move him to the B team. I don't know. I'm starting to be brutal, and already this squad is shrinking down in size. Ultimately, though, when I look at the squad depth scenario, Thierry Correa's departure is a bit of a concern. We may need to get in a new backup right back. I'd love to sign him permanently, but they're asking for a little bit too much money at the moment, Benfica. The rest of the team in the whole is in a really good spot. It's worth noting that with Galarreta joining us, we are now occupying all of our non-EU player spots, which is a problem because there's a player I really want to sign. Let's talk about him. So here's the deal. In Spain, you're allowed 3 non-EU players, but South American players pick up EU nationality through becoming Spanish in 2 years. Now this year, the good news is that Avramidez is becoming Spanish in the summer, and also Velez, next January, he also is going to become Spanish, which will ease up the restrictions. Because I've signed Galarreta, that leaves me with no spots until Velez takes up Spanish nationality. The Colombian will get it next January. But I've gone back in for Siapina. Can you remember this guy? Can you remember him? Tried to sign him last year. He turned me down. I was pretty gutted because for £1 million he would have been a steal. Well, I've talked to Guimaraes. They've accepted a bid of £8 million. There's some big boys interested in him. And in fact, he's agreed to join us as a striker. £8 million, it's not cheap. Comes with the added dilemma. If I do sign him, I'm going to have to unregister someone for 6 months, one of our non-EU players. And that's a tricky call to make. As I mentioned, Avramidez is about to pick up Spanish nationality, which is really big. He gets it in a month. You can see here, he's actually been capped for Argentina's national team now, which is huge for him. Elsewhere, the 3 players in question are Fabian Velez, who joined us 18 months ago. You can see here, he gets Spanish nationality in January. Elsewhere, Corridor is a little way off. Well, a year off getting nationality. So he's a player who we could look to loan within Spain for 6 months. That is kind of the option I'm leaning towards. The only other player that we've got who we could possibly let go, who is also occupying a non-EU player spot, is the man who's just joined us in Galarreta, which makes no sense. He has to play. He is way, way too good. Now, there is a temptation, I suppose, just to get rid of Velez. But Velez got Young Player of the Year and he was top draw, so I don't really want to let him go. With Mark renewing his loan and playing right back, with Capanu making his mark at centre defence in mid, I think Corridor's the man to move on. And this is all assuming I actually want to sign Siapina, which I'm not entirely sure I do want to. I am entirely sure I want to, but do I want to create this headache for myself? At the moment, I'm just delaying it on an ongoing basis. The aim of today's episode is to look at what else is available and make a call. What I would say now is, what would you do in this situation? Do you sign Renato here, knowing that he's absolutely world class? Do you just take the hit on not registering someone in the league for 6 months? I don't know what to do. We've got just shy of £10 million in transfer budget. Obviously, Siapina would use up the bulk of that money. There are a few players who are looking to move on, who maybe are looking to force moves. I look at Onana, who's got some interest in him as a player who we may end up moving on. Of course, if Onana moves on, it's not the end of the world because I've already got Galarreta who's coming into the team. I suppose another thing that we've got to consider is how we fit in the new players into the team. We should do that now before I do anything else. So as things stand going into the new season, I think this is my best 11. I say with some tentativeness. Avramidez and Mojica up front, I think, is a bit of a no-brainer. If we're going to switch to a 2-striker formation, we are going to need a little more depth in the striking department. Whilst we do have Atakovic, who I think can be a good little complete forward, and we also have Puado, who, of course, we snapped up on a freebie. I think if we are going to go down this route, Siapina would be just a bit of a no-brainer, really. Can play the complete forward role really well, can play the advanced forward role really well, a really just super well-rounded forward at 19 years old. The more I look at things, the more I'm like, I have to sign him. I just have to. At 8 million, it would be dumb not to. Obviously, Martinez this year made a bit of a name for himself. Makes sense to have him out on the right. Pablo Torre is still here for another year. The more I look at it, the more I'm thinking, if you don't get injured, you're fine. You're really good if you don't get injured. Just don't get injured, Pablo. How hard can it be? And alongside Blanco and Owusu, two players who are really, really good defensively, I think it could solve a fair few problems for us. Of course, with us being in the Champions League, there's going to be a load of rotation needed. I could see a world in which Owusu moves into box-to-box midfielder and we bring in Kapanu to play ball-winning midfielder. Maybe even playing Blanco as an advanced playmaker. To be honest, that feels like an absolute waste with his tackling. Maybe we look at the roles, to be honest. Maybe we could go with the double box-to-box midfielder or something. I feel like Owusu, Blanco and Kapanu are such a great defensive trio. It might just help us out, I suppose, a little bit in games where we have less of the ball. Obviously, with this new system, I'm not really locked into any roles yet, particularly with this kind of shape. I think the centre mid pairing with a man in behind already that I'm kind of settled on being a ball-winning midfielder. There's a little bit of room for experimentation and flexibility there. Obviously, at the back, as things stand, I've got Marcer at left-back, who was good when we signed him. I do feel like a left-back upgrade is overdue, if not this year, certainly next year. Obviously, at right-back, we've got Mark, and then at centre-back, we'll have Velez and, Galarreta as well. The more I'm looking at things, with Owusu coming in, who's really good defensively, with Mark extending his loan at right-back, I think Corridor could be the man to try and loan out. Just a 6-month loan him to another Spanish team. He comes back, gets some regular football. He probably won't get here for the first 6 months, and we can then register him no problemo. You can see the rest of the bench. We've got players like Onana on the bench. Is Onana a bit too good to have on the bench? Is he valued too highly not to be playing regularly? To be honest, I kind of want to test the waters a little bit with him. So we'll offer him out for 36 million. Just see if we get any nibbles. Of course, the rest of the bench, we've got players like Thierry Correa right now. I just realised, actually, I did manage to extend his loan. I don't know why in my head did I not think I'd extended his loan? Did we agree to sign him to a loan permanently before? I'm now confused. I thought Thierry Correa had a shorter loan. But apparently he didn't. Maybe I've been wrong about that the whole time. Maybe I've had a dilemma in my head that doesn't exist because Correa can stick around. As you can see, he's valued at 3 million. We have an agreement that we can sign him for 9 million. Not going to sign him for that, but okay, forget that. The right back and left back position is fine this year. We solved it last year and I didn't even realise. Obviously, the rest of the bench, we've got players like Pablo Torre, Vega. Ignore the stars. Just ignore the stars. He's got low rep. He's got really good current ability. I mean, if we just compare him with Blanco here, you can see there's not a world of difference. It's mad how Blanco is considered, a 3.5-star player, then Vega is considered a 2-star. Now, obviously, I know we're comparing apples to oranges here. They're both fruits, they're both centre mids, but they're very different types of centre mids. I think Gabriel Vega is criminally underrated. I think, actually, if we are going to go down the double box-to-box midfielder route, he could be a really good kind of more attacking centre mid option to have on the bench. And then we've got Atakovic. We've also got Hardy on the bench. I like Hardy. He was very, very quiet this season just gone after a really good start to the season. The kind of player who I might look to move on if the right offer came in, but I don't think it will. That said, as a super versatile attacking option on the bench, he's still useful. And even if we strengthen the bench a little bit, he just would be a good player in general. Okay, we've done a little bit of a sorting out here. This opening segment has been way longer than I wanted it to be, but I don't think there's going to be that much transfer business because the more I look at things, the more I'm thinking Siapina's the man. Of course, if we can move on someone like Onana, that then creates the flexibility. But at the moment, I'm happy with the goalkeeping situation. I think between Basia, LaRue, Onana, and also Salgado, who of course we loaned out last year, we've got centre-back backups in spades. I look at the full-back position. We're good there as well, especially with Mark extending his loan. If anything, we might have a little bit too much depth at centre-back in terms of number of personnel. Centre-mids are fine. I think attacking-wise, obviously, players like Calderon and Angulera, they're here with the first team. They're here really just to train with the first team. They will probably get minutes intermittently throughout the year, but they're kind of just bonus extra players who, on the one hand, I like just having training with the first team. Equally, they perhaps make the team look a little more bloated than it is. Anyway, looking at the players we've got, looking at the situation we're in, I think some strength and depth in the striking position matters. I think looking at what we can maybe move on elsewhere, players like Onana perhaps, who had a really good season, but do I think they can do it again? Probably not. See if we can cash in on some of those. Maybe then the left-back position becomes an area of investment, just because Marsa, he's just very meh. Anyway, it's only the 1st of July. There's a month or so ahead of us. It's a long, long time until the season starts. The season hasn't even ticked over yet. I'll come back when something interesting's happening. I feel quite calm about this window. I think this is going to be a more comfortable one. Okay, the first real bid of note, I say of note, it's for Machedo. Machedo is valued at £10 million. We've not got a low asking price on him, so I have no idea where Sassuolo have got this idea they could sign him for 8 million from. But for a player worth 10 million, they've bid 8. I'd maybe give it a bit more consideration if it was a squad player. Not for Machedo, though. Not a chance. Okay, so some really good news. Angulera has extended his contract. You might have caught it. He only had 1 year left, which I didn't clock until I came to promote him to the first team. So we've got that extended. His development has actually been really impressive, the 17-year-old. He only came through a few youth intakes ago. You can see here, like in the last 2 years, this has been his development. His physicals have gone from being pretty average to being super standout. Even stuff like his composure and decisions have shot up as well. And his technicals are also kind of steadily improving. So great to see him locked into a long-term deal. Another youngster who signed a new deal is Lindgren, who you may remember from a few youth intakes ago. A player who I don't think is a million miles away from the first team, but don't think we really need him right now, nor is there necessarily quite such a desire to promote him as early as Aguilera. You can see here, Villalba has had a few bids for him. He was one of the big hot prospects of our latest youth intake. A few offers in the region of $500,000. We don't have a need for that. Although, there is a bid here for Onana. It's not a bad bid. It's from Club Bruges. If we just look here, of course, we signed Onana from Club Bruges for £7 million 2 years ago. They have made a bid of £23.5 million. After 50 league games, they'll give us $3 million more, and for 10 league games, they will pay us $300k per appearance. I'd probably consider that if it wasn't for the selling team wage contribution of $11k. I feel like for Onana, we can definitely look to get in the region of $30 million. It's still very early on in the transfer window. I don't have a need to let him go for anything less than that right now, so I'm just going to steadily offer him out for less and less, let teams stew on it, and hopefully we can get a bid. I feel like a £30 million bid would really open up some opportunities because the squad's already kind of big. I'd like a new left back. I think that's the kind of deal that becomes an option if we can sell on Onana. I'm becoming more and more, I guess, determined that Renato is the man for us. I think it's worth the headache. Of course, we're now looking to loan out Corridor potentially. But yeah, I feel calm. It's just Onana feels like a player to cash in on, you know? Like, he's had a good year, but he's going to be on the bench probably next season. Yeah, and he's 23 with a bit of potential. Now's the time to sell. Just need someone to come in with a bid that I think is good enough. I have had a loan offer for Corridor. Unfortunately, it's from Dortmund in Germany, which doesn't work because I want to loan him to a team in Spain so he keeps getting nationality of Spanish through the 2-year period. So we're going to reject that. Obviously, a whole host of pre-season stuff happening. And more bids on Machedo. No. Look, there is an asking price of 67 million. You can't afford it. Why waste our time? We're at a weird point of no return here where I've delayed the Siapina deal twice. It's already the 7th of July. I feel like I'm not dilly-dallying as much as previous years. We've got some good business done early, but there isn't as much business to do. I might live to regret this. I hope I don't. And I might be about to create a horrible headache for myself for 6 months. But I'm going to sign him. He's too good not to sign. I wanted him last year for 2 million. He decided he wanted to go to Portugal. We've signed him again here for 8 million. His value is already higher than that. It's a 5-year deal. Really talented forward. Even if he wasn't to develop from how good he is now, he's still a top quality player. And at 19 years old, just a bright spark for the future. Okay, Mahika's developed some concerns. There's a new striker. Look, you're going to get game time. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. You scored 22 goals. A bit of competition never hurt anyone. What it does mean is I could look to move on Atakovic. Am I even going to get my money back for Atakovic? Should I try and get my money back for Atakovic? I mean, let's give it a go. I feel like he's not that essential anymore. And if I could cash in on him, it'd probably be the right thing to do at this moment in time. I was just sorting out the squad registration for next season, and I've had this horrible realisation that we've got the 5 foreign players. Of course, Avramidez is going to be getting Spanish nationality in 20 days. That might not happen before the start of the season. The paperwork has to be sorted. I forgot that we signed him so late into the transfer window. And also, still don't know what's going on with Corridor. No one wants him. Does anyone want Velez? Barcelona want Velez. Could I sell Velez and keep Onana? You can see here, I'm trying to get rid of Onana. 15 clubs want him. Atakovic, one team wants him, and it's Vitoria Guimaraes, who have no money. I mean, would it be a ridiculous decision to sell Velez, who was last year's Young Player of the Year in the league and also our Young Player of the Year? I mean, look, Barcelona are interested. Let's just offer him out for a wad of money. Go fishing, see if they nibble. Dortmund still want Corridor. No. I mean, I could loan him out to Germany, but I don't know. I think he would lose. Yeah, he would. He would lose his progress towards Spanish nationality, which obviously is not really what I want because I only need to loan him out for 6 months. But someone other than Dortmund has got to want this man. I'm going to be patient. Someone will come in eventually. It's going to be fine. I hope. Okay, so Willy Cambuala is going to extend his loan at Extrema Duma. We'll get there. Dura. I can't read. Can we just move? We already knew this. He had an okay loan spell with them last year. They want him again. Not going to argue with that. Onana's been linked with a load of people. Can people start making bids? I mean, not on my youngsters, though. Not on my... Just bid on Onana. Oh, I think I just want to get rid of him at this point. I know he's got the song and everything, but come on. I said 30 million. I'm now sat thinking 20 million would be good. Onana bid from Fama Liceo. I think that's how you say it. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. 22 and a half. No, 23 and a half. 20, 22? 21 and a half? I'm trying to drive a hard bargain here. That's a pretty good bid. And he may become unsettled if he's not allowed to have a chat with them. Would I pay 21.5 million for Onana to play centre-back? Probably not. There's a reason I paid 7 million. He was great for us, but here's the thing. I've already signed his replacement. Like, his replacement is already here. It's not like I'm selling a first-team player without having the plan. If anything, I signed Galarreta here without having the plan. 20 million's really good. I'm curious, actually. Have Fama Liceo, have they had a takeover? I think they have quite rich owners anyway. Apparently, they were promoted back to Liga NOS last year. I guess they've got a point to prove. Did they sell someone for some money? How have they got all this cash? I mean, look, I'm not going to complain, but apparently they've got 20 million to spend. Hopefully Onana's going to want to go to him now. I guess with the Onana sale happening now, I can actually think about how else I might want to strengthen the team. Of course, non-EU players are now kind of off the table. When I look at the squad, I'm sat thinking that Marta at left-back is the obvious weak link. I look at the rest of the team. I really like the midfield and kind of centre of the team. Even without Onana there, I feel like that is such a good core. It means that Basia might get moved up, although Basia's had a little bit of interest in him, and he has actually asked to move on. I like him as kind of our backup centre-back, but if the right bid came in, might not say no to him either, but... yeah, I think Marta at left-back, especially if we're going to commit to this shape, the left-back's going to become more and more important. Of course, last year we brought in Araujo as kind of the backup left-hand-sided player. He's good. I think we can get an upgrade on him and Marta, though, so I think that is the place to kind of look to improve right now. So we're going to get 95%, I think it is, of any sale in terms of kind of financial kickback. Yeah, 95% of the transfer revenue is going to be made available. So we've probably got about 20 million to spend on a left-back. I think the obvious place to look is transfer-listed kind of left-backs and maybe have a scout or two of a few of these, although they don't look that great. Let's have a quick look. Contract status expired, sought by World Rep. Stuart Dallas? Probably not. Let's have a look at expiring in a year. There could be some big names here, to be fair. Hysaj is available, and Kunku as well. Player who I'm not familiar with. Apparently he's an Everton youngster. Apparently, joined them from Marseille. Answers on a postcard if you've got a review of him. Acuna's available, but is 33. Baparaman is 31. A lot of these players are kind of on the older side of things. I'm curious. What have my scouts found in terms of left backs? Who have they discovered? I mean, there's Ndika Matamu we looked at last season. I don't feel like he's as kind of much of an improvement as I really should be looking for. I remember seeing Brandon Rodriguez shown my way. I think last January he was transfer listed. He is apparently... Is he still transfer listed? Maybe? I'm going to be honest, he's not actually that good, is he? Right. The search for left back goes on, although Alvaro Fernandez is another Spanish player playing for United. Of course, we've got Mark already in on loan from United. Could we sign this guy to go with him? They want 100 million. I guess the question now becomes, do I want to loan in another player? I'm actually not sure if he's that much of an improvement on Marsa. A little bit better going forward technically as well, really good, but defensively, not all that. Fantastic head of hair, though. I did notice Edgar Perez here, who's a left-back who plays for Real Valladolid. I've had this guy pop up a couple of times. There's no way they're going to sell him to me for 20 million, is there? He's very, very good. They want 75 million. Little out of our price range. I was just having a little look through players who are transfer listed and players with contract status expiring. It is amazing the lack of pulling power we have because of our finances. Like, you kind of look at all the players who are transfer listed. There's some big names here. Players like Eduard, who, I mean, he'd be a pretty good signing if we could attempt to pull it off, even if he's transfer listed for 49 million, which I'm not going to pay, although apparently Atleti are going to pay him. It feels like despite all the success we've had, we still don't have that much pulling power, not through any fault of our own, but because of the financial situation, of course. We've invested so much money in a brand new stadium that the wage structure really hasn't grown with the rest of the club. I'm kind of surprised more players haven't kicked up a fuss about wanting to leave, considering, you know, that we made the Champions League knockout stages last year and our highest earners are on less than £40,000 a week. We really are working on a budget. It makes the pool of players to us available smaller, but I am also relishing the challenge, and indirectly, I suppose, as a consequence of that, you know, we've ended up building this much, much younger squad than perhaps I normally would, just because younger players tend to have a little less ambition when it comes to wages they expect, and that does just make them that little bit more affordable. I think at this point, you know, 2 weeks in to this episode, we're waiting on the Onana deal. If that happens, I think then we have to reevaluate what's available, but right now, left backs just don't exist. They're an endangered species in Football Manager, and I can't find one. But if we do find one, I'll let you know. There's a transfer bid before we go. Is it for anyone big? It's a Leeds bid for Onana. It's not a great bid compared to the one we've already had. We're going to turn that down and continue onwards. Okay, so Guilherme is going to go out on loan again for a year. At 19 years old, I thought he might be the next great thing since sliced bread. Truth be told, he's had a couple of meh loan spells. Played some regular football in the top tier of Portugal last year, which was good. Hasn't developed anywhere near as much as I hoped he might. Of course, it was a low-risk transfer when we signed him for 350k. Even if he doesn't really have a great year this year, and I decide to sell him, I think we'll be able to make our money back. I hope. He's not on small wages, mind you. Ajax have joined the bid to sign Onana. It's just another bid where it's a load of money over a period of time that comes, well, only on par with what we've already agreed up front. So, sorry, Onana. Just get your bags packed, get off to Portugal. Let's just make this quick and easy and painless. Also, Real Madrid have signed Pulisic for 108 million. That seems like a lot. Can someone tell me how to react to this appropriately? Onana has turned down the deal that was agreed. I guess we're going to try and sell him again for 21 million. And this is bad because I actually think I found some ideas for what to do with the fullback position. Two players who I am in the process of scouting. At least we are. I swear we're in the process of scouting. We are. They're on hold, apparently. Prioritise these assignments. Get them done. But But no, looking at two Serbian players playing for Red Star. Yeah, I feel like we've had delve into the market with Atakovic. I look at Zivkovic here and think, your physicals are nutty. You're either-footed and you can play left and right back. And then I'm also looking at Zdravkovic, I hope I'm saying that correctly, who's more of an out-and-out left back. And these two guys, I mean, Zdravkovic, we're going to need a better name than that if we sign him. £10 million. Zivkovic, 5.5 million. I mean, 5.5 million feels like a no-brainer for this guy. Even if Onana doesn't go, I might try and make this deal happen. Pending a scout report, of course. But if Onana doesn't leave, can't sign these guys. Why has he gone and done that? In hindsight, I should have accepted the Ajax and Leeds deals for Onana just to guarantee the move. We'll keep offering him out. We'll hope that we get a bid. This is what we want to see. Atalanta, 19.5. Please go to Atalanta. Please go to Atalanta. I should have read the text there as to what he thinks of the deal. I don't like this Anderlecht deal. No, thank you. And there's also the West Brom deal here. So he wants to go to PSV. PSV haven't bid on you yet. No, I need 19.5. 19.5 West Brom. 19.5. No. Atalanta, you can have him. Onana, please leave us or I'm going to be livid. Okay, we got the scout reports back for the two Serbian chaps. Zivkovic, I think, is the one I'm going to go for. He's considered Red Star's key player. And whilst I like Zdravkovic, not only is his name more difficult to say, a few more negatives with him, not as quick either, not as good physically. Also, they want twice as much for him, which seems counterintuitive to me. But I think Zivkovic, if we can get the deal done, 5.5 million, Bayern are interested. They're interested for a reason. He looks really, really good. Even if he never really develops into a starter, being either-footed, being able to play right and left back is huge. And if we just compare him to Marsa, our current left back, not quite as good defensively, but just an all-round upgrade in pretty much every area. Okay, with Zivkovic, I've got the option to ask the board to make the deal happen. I can delay the transfer, or I can cancel it. Now, I'm going to delay just because if Onana gets sold, we can afford it. I can't remember for the life of me. If I was to ask the board to try and sign him and they say, we don't think he's worth the money, I don't know if I can then delay it after putting in that request. So we're just going to hold off. I want to believe that they would grant it anyway because there's 40 million in the bank so they can afford to sign him. But it doesn't matter because I've just seen this. Onana is joining us, and we are going to get £16 million in the transfer budget. It feels a bit bittersweet to let him go. At the same time, we're receiving a big sum of money, 16 million, and with that 16 million, we've signed Esteban Ruiz Galarreta for 7.5 million, and then I guess Zivkovic is the other man who's coming in with that money that we've just made. That's two big upgrades in two positions that need upgrades, and a little bit of money left over as well. I'm sorry, Onana. For those of you who hate the commentary with his name, I'm relieving you of it now. You've been a fantastic servant, good goals last year, but I don't think you are as good as kind of we need you to be going forward. Also, we've got a new goalkeeping coach for the youth team. I hope for the life of me he's not training our goalkeepers how to handle the ball. That's shocking. Okay, Zivkovic has now joined us. 5.5 million. It's a really, really good deal as far as I'm concerned. We bring him in, either-footed, can play out on the left. We're going to train him to play right, kind of on the right for maximum coverage. I'm a big, big fan. I really like his physicals, love his stamina, well-rounded player. Not the craziest player going forward, not the craziest defensively, but wing-backs are really hard to come by. And to be honest, for 5.5 million, I don't think we're going to get a better player than this chap. So as things stand, this is the squad going into the new season. Still got to deal with the corridor situation. He's not happy that I didn't include him in the training kind of squad. I'm hoping that he's going to take the hint and that maybe we can get a loan for him. Although it feels more and more unlikely at this point, doesn't it, that there's a loan going to come from another Spanish team. We'll try again. In terms of the team itself, though, really, really happy with the progress that we've made. I think Galarreta and also Zivkovic at left back are two nice upgrades alongside Veyes. Looking at the rest of the team, Vega, unfortunately, has got injured, so he's going to miss potentially the start of the season. It's going to be pretty close with him. Elsewhere in the team, Siapina, of course, has joined us as a star striker in the making. Also worth noting, he could play out on the right-hand side, although if for whatever reason Martinez is injured, I think the most likely thing would be to put Avramidez on the right and bring in Renato to play down the middle. We've certainly got flexibility when it comes to the frontline players who can play a whole host of positions, which is great to see. And we're also not completely locking ourselves out of our previous season kind of system, this system here, the asymmetric 4-2-3-1. In fact, you can see here, without making any subs, we can go straight back to this formation. So if a few games in, maybe the Real Madrid game to end last season was a bit of a fluke, there is a plan B here. Looking at the finances, 50 million in the bank as things stand, 11.6 million in transfer budget and some excess wage budget, so some more money to potentially make a deal or two happen. You can see here the league season starts in just under a month's time. We are going to leave things, I think, here for today. We got some good business done. There's a few players who were looking to sell on, squad players who haven't quite made it. Potentially loan one or two of them out. I would love to know what you think of the Onana sale. I think it's going to be a polarising decision, but I think he's the kind of player who I don't necessarily think he's worth 19.5 million. He's been a really good loyal servant, but we've already brought in a player in Galarreta who I think is just a better player than him, who plays the exact same position and is 4 years his junior. I think this year is going to be a bit of a transitional year. It's a very, very young squad at our disposal. Perhaps worth noting that Blanco has had some transfer interest in him from PSG. I've set an asking price of 38 million, but the more I look at it, and, well, his inability to play multiple games a week, and with Owusu, of course, having already signed for us, the more I'm thinking that if, 30 million came in for Blanco, might sell him too. I don't want to transition things too quickly, but at the same time, I think we're at a point here where I'm willing to invest in youth. The board expectations for the season, you can see here, are to try and qualify for the Europa League. The board want a top 6 finish. If we just look at our general overview, media predictions 5th. I think that's kind of a signal of the direction we're going in. We're a team that's steadily improved year on year. The bookies back us, and I kind of back us too. I think we've got a good squad, and even with the Onana departure, it's only looking better than it was last year. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this transfer special. Much like the last few over the previous few seasons, I still feel like we're finding our groove, doing things differently each and every time as we attempt to work out what the best way of doing this is. But I hope you enjoyed the in-depth behind-the-scenes look as always. You can see here Moreno, who we signed from Barcelona for 1.4 million, is now considered our hot prospect. Maybe he'll end up being the best transfer we made of this window. You can see as well Zivkovic now listed as our key player. Things we like to see. Guys, I hope to see you next time. That would be a thing I would like to see. La Liga season starts hot. We are going to be taking on newly promoted Granada in our first game of the season. Hopefully a few more additions before then. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you guys for it then. Thank you for watching today. If you've enjoyed today's video, do slap a like on it. If you've got any feedback with regards to the format, the episode as a whole, all that good stuff, leave it down below. And until next time, it is me, Jack, and I'll talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.